Good morning, and I'm glad you're still with us. Business Update is the segment where we are right now. For those that are joining us, welcome on board. And Management of Retirement Benefits Scheme 2024 is the conversation. Now, this is one that matters a lot. Many of you have had cases where the money that has been deposited with the schemes must be able to do wonders for you at a certain point in life when you retire, but its management and its rollout has a lot of questions around. This conversation should help us understand some of the things, but most importantly, clear the air on anything that might be misunderstood, because the right environment for this is characterized by clear regulation, policy and guidelines, while the right-saving culture on your part is a citizen's commitment to long-term saving. Under the Uganda URBRA's strict regulatory and supervisory framework, savings are prudently invested and citizens should have the confidence that they will get a good return, as it's often witnessed when retirement benefit schemes declare annual interest. We look at the performance and operations of URBRA. We are joined by the acting CEO, Rita Faith Nansasi Wasswa. You're most welcome to the program.
Thank you.
The URBRA has got me a little bit unnervy. This is the Uganda, just take me through it, Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority. Yes. I keep getting the R that comes after the B to the one that comes before the B. Take us through the scheme and its management as well as the benefits.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. My name is Rita Nansasi Wasswa, the Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority, abbreviated as URBRA.
URBRA, yeah.
This is a government entity that was set up by an Act of Parliament in 2011 to regulate the establishment, management and operation of retirement benefit schemes in Uganda in both the public and the private sector. And how we do this, we have a rigorous legal framework that has been developed. Following the enactment of the UBRA Act, we have over 12 regulations that create an enabling framework for these schemes to operate. And to date, we've licensed over 65 retirement benefit schemes, over 7 fund managers who are responsible for investing the members' funds, such that these funds earn an interest. And once members retire, they get their money and interest in addition to what they contributed. We've also licensed several administrators that are responsible for keeping these records for members, because we've noted in our sector that records for these members are very important. Someone could retire and they don't have a track or a trace on any of their employment records. That's right. Or their savings in a particular scheme. So these are some of the things that URBRA has done to make sure that members' records are kept safely so they can have a fallback position when they retire.
Okay. That's a good one. Let me dwell on that very briefly. The fact that some individuals at a point in life are asked to provide letters of appointment. 1970, yes. 1980, where do you get that letter? This is what the administrator does. Yes. They go and do that job for you.
They keep all those records because it's important. And Ugandans should know that from the date of your first employment, that's right, it's important that you keep your appointment letter, your confirmation letter, and all the documents you get along the way. Because when you retire, these documents will be asked of you. And if you don't have them, then you have a challenge. That's why we've seen people having a challenge accessing their pension, because they don't have their appointment letters, they don't have confirmation letters. Some are even promoted, they don't have those letters. So it's important for every Ugandan or every working citizen to know that, keep these documents. So in the retirement benefits sector, these administrators keep a record of all these documents. So it's easy for a member of a scheme to get back to the administrator and ask for these records and be able to process their benefits as and when they are due.
Okay. In light of the emergence of the data available at NIRA. Yes. I don't know whether it still requires somebody to bring corresponding documents. Can't this data be stored and simply availed to avoid the tendency for bringing the documents physically?
Okay, I think the data at NIRA could be like your national identification information, for example, your date of birth, your age, your I don't know whether it also has your qualifications. Yes,
no,
if you've, so for your work information, this you need to keep, or your HR or the administrator of the scheme, because you not go to NERA to ask them for your letter of appointment. They surely don't have it. It's either your HR or the administrator of your scheme that has a copy of these documents. But the data in NERA is also useful because it helps us collaborate the age of members. You've noticed sometimes people reach retirement, and that's when they notice that actually I think I am younger than what I've been declaring. Or we even noted that when people are registering for the national IDs, they gave a different age from what they registered when they are getting their first employment. So the data at NERA is helpful for collaborating such information. Okay. Yes.
There you have it. If you qualified from university in 2020, but your first employment has 1999, problems will arise. But anyway, so many Ugandans are skeptical about retirement saving, mainly because of past experiences in some players. There's this but the regulator and what is being done to instill the confidence in some of these initiatives.
Thank you for that question. We understand the skepticism of several Ugandans. Indeed, the past experience in the retirement benefits sector was not good, and that is what informed government to establish URBRA as a regulator, because previously there was no regulator, so pension schemes and retirement benefit schemes were doing work the way they so wished to.
That's right.
And they were just investing members' money without any guidance. So with the establishment of URBRA in 2011, there was a requirement for separation of roles, such that the person who is collecting this money in the scheme is not the person investing this money, and is not the person keeping this money. So under the URBRA Act, there is a clear requirement for segregation of these roles. We have the custodian who keeps this money once it's collected. So when this money is remitted in your retirement benefit scheme, it's not kept in the MD's drawer or safe somewhere. It has to be kept by a bank. That is a custodian licensed with the Bank of Uganda and the URBRA license to keep this money. And this money has to be invested at all times. It shouldn't be kept in cash. We have a law, a regulation that requires only keep 5% in cash.
Of all the savings?
Of all the money. The rest has to be invested, because members need a return on their money, such that when you're paying them their money plus an interest. The 5% you keep is to address these daily needs. If there's a member auto-retiring, then you can use the 5% and pay them their benefits. But the 95% has to be invested in several asset classes that have been clearly stipulated in our regulations. We have seen that majority of this money is invested in government securities, and our regulations allow up to 80% in government securities, because these are risk-adjusted investments and they're yielding a high return on the members' monies. We've also allowed up to 30% in private equity, and these are listed. Private equity is actually 15%. Then we have 30% in listed equities on the stock exchange, and we also have allowed up to 30% in real estate. So this allows for diversification so that members get a good return on their money.
Okay. The diversification alone does care for aspects including returns that may not make it through one or two vehicles. But what is the overarching safeguard in case of stock market volatility, where things go haywire, the market crashes? Or what happens to the saver's money?
Okay,
is there a fund, for example, if stock market crashes, and the investment bankers can explain their way? They're like, yes, we're investment bankers and we put your money there, but this is what happened.
Thank you for that question. The first safeguard we have put in place is to set a threshold. As I said earlier, 30% in the stock markets. You cannot invest beyond 30%. Yes. And then we've also allowed for diversification. Put your 30% in the stock markets. We have allowed up to 80% in government securities, up to 30% in the real estate, up to 30% in different asset classes, such that in case one asset class is suffering, you can recover from the other asset class. We don't encourage high concentration in a particular asset class, because that is risking members' money.
Talk to us about financial disclosure and valuation of assets using the data available and some of the, for example, bank statements to show that, yes, this person has been employed at this particular moment in time. How does this impact the already existing framework?
Okay. Regarding financial disclosure, we have a detailed regulation for financial reporting and disclosure for retirement benefit schemes. This has clearly stipulated what we require of the trustees. These are the people managing this money, to disclose in the financial statements of this each scheme.
That's right.
And also the audited accounts of the scheme. We've also required schemes to conduct annual general members meetings. This was not there before the establishment of URBRA. This gives the members a chance to get to know what is happening in their schemes, how their money is being invested, how the money is being used, because we have seen that a lot of members' money is eaten up by operational costs. Yeah. So if these costs are not disclosed to members, and if members don't ask of their trustees, why did you incur such a cost as against the other one? Because if these schemes are operating in the same market, why would you be spending more for the same service, yet another scheme is spending less? Yeah. So in these financial disclosure regulations, we require them to put all the information before the member and before us as a regulator, and we critique these audited financial statements when we get them and call the trustees to order. There have even been scenarios where we have required them to recover or reimburse members' monies if we find that they've misused this money or paid for certain services that were not really offered. We have required trustees and various service providers to reimburse that money. Okay.
I don't know whether this one would be too much for the funds, but now we, as Ugandans, we are mostly used to hearing about one fund, NSSF. Yes. You say there are 7 registered funds.
We have 65 registered.
You said 65 licensed schemes?
Yes, in addition to the NSSF that members
yes. So, okay, I don't want you to list anything, but I was interested in the 7. I thought schemes were 65, funds were 7.
Oh,
what's
the 7
difference?
Are the fund managers.
Fund managers.
These are the companies that invest, these are professional companies that invest this money once it's collected.
NSSF is a scheme.
NSSF is a scheme.
The fund managers are 7 in the country. Shouldn't we have more?
Yes, we can have more, but also we have a stringent requirements. That's why many of them, although they apply, they don't pass the test.
They don't pass the test.
Yes, yes. You should be financially sound. You should have the team of professionals to invest this money. So it's not enough just to desire to invest. You should pass the test of a professional fund manager. Then you get the capital markets license. And in addition to that, you get the license from URBRA.
Kudos to you as the regulator there. Now, the individual is important to this whole thing.
Yes.
And the expectations many times are misunderstood. Others completely downplay the need to be on the lookout regarding performance of the sector. How does somebody keep track?
Okay. As an individual member, first of all, you keep track from your statement. It's important that you get your either monthly statement or quarterly statement. And this we has required as of law that schemes give members their benefit statements. This will help a member to avoid surprises. You reach retirement, that's when you know that your employer actually never remitted any money in the scheme. Yet they've been deducting this money from your account on a monthly basis. So it's important that you look out for this statement, and when it comes to your phone or to your email, please analyze it and ask those questions to avoid surprises. And secondly, we also require the schemes to give this information to the member. Put it out there, let them critique this information, and then get the details of what they need. And in the annual general members meeting that I talked about earlier, it's important that the audited statements of the scheme are shared early, at least 7 days before the date of the meeting, so that members can look at these statements and critique. We have schemes, for example, the Makerere University Retirement Benefit schemes. Those members are so analytical. They will ask tough questions, and they have pushed their trustees to deliver. In that today they give them a very good return on their investments. You have no excuse for underperforming.
That is right.
We've also seen this in the parliamentary pension scheme. the members are strict. They ask those tough questions of their trustees. Why did you spend on X and not on Y?
Okay.
Why are other schemes performing better than yourself? So these trustees are always on their toes to make sure they give a good return for members. And this is the advice we send out to all the members of the schemes. Please be vigilant. This is your money.
That is right.
It's safe. If you sit back and think someone else is minding it, then you could get surprises. Ask those tough questions. Challenge the interest you're being given. Is it the best? Can't they do more? We believe they can do much more.
Interesting there. I'm going to challenge NSSF. The interest is very, very small. We should be getting something like 23%. That's, of course, on the lighter note. You talked about vigilance and gave us the example of Makerere University and the parliamentary scheme. This could be down to the fact that these are elite individuals, very learned, they know what to go for.
Yes.
But there are people who are in schemes and may not be as at levels of education that allows them to be very, very strict in terms of what details are available to them. Is there somebody who is doing that for them?
Okay.
Looking out for these schemes, or like, oh, for example, if a person is employed and they have a certificate, they do not have the same intellectual power as the lecturer at Makerere University to push and ask tough questions. Who is asking the tough questions for them?
Okay, thank you for that question. Those tough questions are being asked by us as URBRA, the regulator.
Okay.
When these audited statements are given to us, we look at them. We actually get a retreat. The entire supervision team retreats for an entire week to look at all these audited accounts for each scheme and ask those different questions. And what we've also done is to empower these members. We conduct several member sensitization workshops to tell these members and sensitize them on what to look out for. When you get your statement, what should you ask? When these audited accounts are given to you, what should you ask? So we have tried to sensitize the members to ask the right questions. We know they may not yet have gotten the aptitude that is required, but this is work in progress, and we'll continuously encourage them to ask.
That's a very good one. Now, the retirement benefits sector performance report is available right now and will be released later for public consumption. I don't want to preempt everything that you'll be telling us next week, but please, we should be interested in what is outstanding and important in as far as developments are concerned.
Yes.
What is in there?
Indeed, we are releasing our report, the annual retirement benefit sector performance report for the financial year 2023-2024 next week. It will be released by the Honorable Minister of Finance at the Media Center. And we encourage members to look out for this report because it's going to show you how your scheme is performing as compared to the other schemes. We have put in an analysis of 5 years' performance of the different schemes, the 65 schemes I talked about that we regulate. So we encourage the members to look out for this report and see how is your scheme performing, because you're investing in the same markets, but how come another scheme is giving a higher interest rate and you're giving us peanuts? So this is also one of the ways to encourage members to ask the tough questions. But we have seen an increase in assets under management as compared to the last financial year and this financial year. There's been at least an 18.6% increase as compared to 2021. We have also seen an increase in member contributions. Members are being sensitized to contribute more and save more for their retirement. So these are some of the things we have seen in this report. And we have also seen that schemes that manage their operational costs are able to give a high interest rate as compared to those that are having high operational costs that are tending to erode members' benefits.
Okay. Pension reforms should be something that is in that report. I don't know exactly what it does cover and what it promises sector players.
Okay, indeed we touch a bit on the pension reforms. The public service pension scheme. We know it's under a pay-as-you-go arrangement where government has to put aside money from the budget to pay for the pensions. This has proved to be unsustainable. That's why you see that pensioners spend time, a period of time without their pension being paid, because government has other priorities as compared to payment of pension. Although we've seen in the recent past this is being prioritized to make sure that pensioners get their money. But in case of any budget distress, pension is likely to suffer. So one of the reforms that is being pushed for, and thankfully it has already been approved through Cabinet, is the reform of the public service pension scheme to make it contributory, such that the civil servants make a contribution of about maybe 5%, and government can put aside 10% to make this contributory, and then people won't have to wait when they reach retirement because their money will be there. It will still be invested. And another reform we are looking forward to is to increase coverage to the informal sector. Because we see majority of the Ugandans are working in the informal sector and they're not saving for their retirement. They too, like you and me who are working in the formal sector, retire. So it's important that they also start saving for their retirement. So this is one of the major reforms we are also working towards, to see that we get schemes that are tailored to meet their characteristics. Because it's not easy for them to save in a formal scheme. They don't get regular income. Their income is intermittent.
That is right.
So they need a scheme that is tailored to their characteristics, and they save as and when they get the money, so that they also have a decent retirement.
All right. Thank you very much. Any last words before we can transition into our next segment on Morning at NTV?
My last words to every Ugandan is to encourage us to save for our retirement. Because all of us, whether in the formal sector or in the informal sector, at one point we shall have to retire. But how have we prepared for our retirement? And also to encourage members in your various schemes. Please be mindful of how your money is being invested. Ask the tough questions. Attend the annual general meetings and ask your trustees how they are performing, why they're giving you such an interest as compared to the other schemes. And let us save with licensed retirement benefit schemes. I encourage you to visit the URBRA website. We have all the details of the licensed schemes where you can save for your retirement, so that every Ugandan has a decent retirement and we avoid old age poverty.
That is a very inspirational one. Many thanks, Rita Faith Nansasi Wasswa, as acting CEO at the Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority, URBRA, for the submission.
Thank you.
And that will do it for the conversation. Yokamane, please go forth and ensure that as you inch closer to 55 or 60, you can be assured your evening is sorted. I'll be back. Stay with us.